You are watching Getting Tabled.
I figured out how to stop the video recording on my laptop too. So that's a good one.
Well, George still doesn't know if it's in May or April or June yet, so because he was confused about the date on the run sheet.
I thought this was what it said last time too.
No, it didn't. That's definitely been changed. Last week I changed it inside the document, but not outside of it, so he got all confused then too.
It's not hard to do, so be nice. Okay.
No.
All right, here we go. In 3, 2.
Getting tabled.
Getting tabled.
Getting tabled.
Getting tabled.
Getting tabled.
Getting tabled.
With the Bruce and the Yang.
Hello, future people. You are good listening to Getting Tabled with your host, the Bruce.
Hey, that would be me.
And the Captain Socks.
Hey, folks.
Captain Socks doesn't know we were doing this. And so when we signed on tonight, we're like, oh, hey, yeah, check out what we... So...
And because he can see both of us at the same time, he knew how to stroke the moment he got up.
Pretty much.
I mean... Two middle-aged, balding white guys.
I'm a lot younger than you are.
Hey, you're getting there.
I'm a lot off what you are.
You're not that off, are you?
I'm only 37, dude.
Oh, maybe.
Also, I have a full head of hair too.
I do too. It goes back really far.
I'm sorry, dude, but you set yourself up for that.
No, I totally did. Yeah. It's Sunday.
It is. Well, no, it's not. It's Monday.
Well, Monday for you, Sunday for us too.
It's not my fault you live in the past.
We live in the past, so you can give us the lottery numbers, which you never do.
No, I know, because every time I try to, they censor it.
Stupid. Yeah. This is our second time doing this, Bruce and I. Captain Socks is along for the ride this time, and yeah. I don't think we've got anything to talk about beforehand, so let's just jump into the news.
Newly received or noteworthy information, especially about recent or important events.
Your lip sync on my main monitor was just slightly off. It was like bad dubbing. In the news, TT Combat has a new website.
So they've relaunched their actual website, and it makes the old one look horrible. The new one's brilliant.
Yeah, I've been playing around with it. It does look nice.
Yeah, hopefully when a company relaunches a website, it looks better than the old one, because then what's the point?
Well, yeah.
I will say this. I love the new logo for Dropfleet Commander, though.
Agreed.
I think that looks pretty... I think that looks pretty snaz.
To be fair, those logos were revealed a little while ago, but it doesn't surprise me that you haven't seen them. Because I don't think they were public. I think I saw those because I was behind the scenes. I could be wrong. And by behind the scenes, I mean the TT agent thing.
Right. You get special privileged information now.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
You get somewhat privileged information.
I'm just a privileged kind of person.
I don't think so.
Hey. That's triggering right there.
Would be nice to see the Drop Zone Commander logo be like more industrialized or something like that, since the premise behind the game is all city street fighting. I mean, I know what they're trying to get at there, but it'd be fun to see it a little more like the Drop Fleet Commander one logo.
I kind of like the Rumble Slam one too.
I'm a big fan of the Carnival one, or Carnival, or however you want to pronounce it. I like it.
Carnivale.
There he goes, getting all British and English, proper English on us.
I'm pretty sure it's meant to be Spanish. or Italian?
I
Where
think
is-
Italian. Oh, who knows?
I'm completely forgetting the name of the city. The city that's sinking underwater.
Venice,
Venice?
Where's Venice? Italy?
Italy.
Then it's Italian.
There we go.
I know things.
You
Very
didn't
little.
know the name of the city that was sinking?
I forget the name of Venice all the time. But the moment that
You know,
the moment that you say the city that's sinking under the water, everybody knows what it is. So I don't have to remember.
you know another city sinking under the water? Chicago. Well, not
New
so much
Orleans.
under the water. Yeah, New Orleans. Well, no, New Orleans is just underwater. It's there's dams and levees that
To
keep
be
it from
fair,
being
Actually,
underwater.
hold it back.
Chicago's already been lifted above the water once. The entire
Yeah.
city was lifted in the 20s, which is kind of
Yeah.
insane, given like it was long before any of us were even a twinkle in our grandparents' eyes.
No,
Oh no, that's right. You're 304. I keep on forgetting that.
well, no. So my grandfather moved to Wyoming in 1888. It became a state in 1889. So
Yeah, fair enough.
my family's been in Wyoming longer than Wyoming's been a state. So
How can Wyoming have been a state since 1889 when it still doesn't exist?
because they counted the
Ooh.
cows, women, and everyone who got on and off the train as it went through.
Do you exist on the map that we were looking at yet?
Don't think he
Yes.
still does.
Yes.
Because there was a giant hole in the US where Wyoming was supposed to be last time I looked at it.
Yeah. So, next, Victory at Sea.
Yeah, I'll move this one up a bit because I thought it might be fun to bring out the Warlord stuff a bit early. So, Victory at Sea are relaunching a game that was originally released
Warlord.
by Mongoose Publishing.
Warlord Games is not Victory at Sea. Victory at Sea is the name of the game.
Oh, sorry.
So, nope, it's okay.
Um,
So I actually played this game when it was under Mongoose Publishing game. Mongoose released this. Oh, I can't remember. Let me hang on one second. I'll grab the books.
So it's for while he's grabbing those, this is a World War II sea battle game. So the Australians and the US, etc., versus Japan, essentially. So it's the war in the Pacific. A part of history that Europe forgets about a lot because they weren't really involved. Not having a go at Europe, it's just they weren't there.
What they had a bunch of other stuff going on too. In all fairness,
Yeah, they were kind of busy. And the reason why World War II didn't finish when Hitler gave up, because he wasn't the only one fighting.
So the
big important part of history, this.
Yeah. So the rule set that I played was the third edition from 2008. And for those of you that know, Axis and Allies, the miniatures brought out land miniatures, but then they also brought out naval miniatures. Well, the naval miniatures were about the same scale that Warlord Games is printing out for their game. So I've ordered it, the starter set. Hopefully it will be here when I come back from my adventures in the desert again. For those of you that don't know, yes, I'm leaving again. So I'm looking forward to this when it comes back out. I enjoyed it. So like Bruce said, eventually we'll probably see more fleets released in the future. The starter set
Question in
focuses-
regards to that.
Yep.
The original version of this game, was there an Australian fleet, or did they just get lobbed in with the US?
They actually had ships, I want to say, built into the British faction empire, if I remember correctly.
Depending on how they do this, I may actually buy my first historic game. But it wouldn't happen unless that gets fleshed out, because I wouldn't have an interest otherwise.
So here's my one little complaint that I kind of do have.
Yeah.
The actual minis themselves. I don't like the fact that the base is like so integrated with the ship.
That I do agree with, but if you look at the ships a little bit closer on the models, they actually have the names of the ships printed on the side. So when you're playing with different classes, same ships of the same class, but different names, you're going to be able to point those out a little bit easier. And that's why they have the basic.
The benefit of doing it the way that they've done it as well is, quite frankly, doing water for a lot of people is a giant pain, let alone doing active water like that.
Meh. So have
Yeah.
it be a 2-part thing. Have the ship and it glues into, so you can do everything separately. It doesn't have to be a one-piece thing.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a cool looking game. I think one advantage it does have is it looks like you just pop it out of the box and play.
Pretty much. There'll be a few things to glue on. The bridge of the ships, some of the main cannons for the heavier battleships and cruisers and stuff like that. But everything else is pretty much out of the box, playable.
I'm curious on this one. Historical wargaming is not my thing. I never try to pretend that it is. There's been a couple of things that I've been tempted by occasionally. Like I was tempted by Bolt Action at one point, but the fact that I can't really make it my own is always kind of, because that's what I find more fun about it, is, you know, making my actual own thing. But no, color me curious on this. My grandfather was involved on the army side of things over there, so that would be my connection to it. But otherwise, moving on to the next one, which I've just realised I have backwards. There it is. On my screen, not on the run sheet. Okay, for anyone that's familiar with The Drowned Earth, which is a game that has been around for a little while, we haven't really discussed it up until now. The creator of that is launching a new game / expansion to the original game. It's called the Eulalia Chronicles. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, I apologise, but I think that's how he said it. Which, at first glance, reminds me a lot of Primeval Clash that we discussed 2 podcasts ago, I think, George?
Which one? The Clash?
Primeval Clash, the old-timey people riding dinosaurs.
2 or 3 episodes ago, yeah.
Yeah. This one is designed so that it can either be played single player or in a co-op campaign. And basically, you are on this Lost Island type thing filled with dinosaurs, and you have to try and survive, is the basic premise. So model-wise, it has some similarities, but it's not the same thing. It's very pretty. You can either buy it with cardboard standees, which makes it super cheap, like £39 cheap, or you can buy it with a basic set of minis or a full-on set of minis. Like, they've thought this out quite well. Kind of meets in with the tabletop wargaming. It can be played as a board game. It's kind of riding that balance between the two a little bit.
As I'm paying more attention to this, I am finding myself more and more drawn to the games like that. I mean,
yeah,
the God Tier, a Super Fantasy Brawl, which any month now, we should be seeing, like, within the month, Bruce.
Yeah, we should be seeing, like, at any time. We are discussing Super Fantasy Brawl, just for those that are not aware, which is another game by Mythic Games that we both pledged.
But yes, so like I said, sidetracking on it, I'm liking these board games more and more because it gives you that feel of it's a tabletop miniature game, but it's not, where are we looking here? A full on, like, everything pledge. 900. Oh wait. Oh, that's
You're looking at the retail pledge, I think.
Yeah. So the 210 pledge. That's everything for the game. Everything right now. What does 210 get you in the more conventional minis game?
In the case of 40k, you might get one hero and a slap across the. No, I'm kidding. You'd get a starter set and probably a big vehicle to go with it. Maybe depends on which army you're playing.
You can get getting started army, get like an actual like single hero, and then like another basic troop squad. That's $200 right there. That's a 5th or 6th of our army, depending. TT Combat, the drop games, a lot more friendly as far as the price goes. So I'm becoming more and more interested.
You'll get a full army out of either of the drop games.
So I'm becoming more and more interested with these games because also too it's a board game. It's easier to convince the non super nerd
Yeah.
to sit down and play a game of it because you've got all the stuff right there. Here's the rule book. Let's play this game. Not, oh, well, you have to go buy this and then you have to do this. Yeah. So this is kind of cool. I like the look of it. I will not be jumping into this one probably because
Given that you already
we'll
did
talk
that a week ago now,
yeah, something like that. And
we've already discussed this, and I think you were surprised. We're not talking about it now, but I think you were surprised by the way I reacted. Yes, you were expecting me to be a lot more negative than I was.
I was expecting a little more negativity, but the way you also put it, it helps change, like maybe how people could view us then.
Yeah.
So,
take your guesses now as to what we're talking about, and then we'll let you know if we're right later. Moving on to the next one.
Yeah, this one looks really cool.
Yeah. Okay. So, Hardcore Miniatures. I'm going back into. This is not an 80s vibe. It's more of a 90s vibe, but it's nostalgia on the tabletop. Go to the store. Go to Sci-Fi. Let me know when you two are caught up.
I clicked on the link, so
Okay. So,
I'm here.
this is a company that sells miniatures of Doom Guy, the guy from Quake. They have Duke Nukem. They have Serious Sam. They have whatever the guy's name is from Half-Life that I can't think of right now. They have Space Dwarves. They do have a fantasy range as well, but I haven't looked at the fantasy range because I was lost with Duke Nukem. I'm sorry, but for a kill team or something alone, you could build something awesome with this. Could you imagine having, like, you buy Doom Guy and you throw him in with your Space Marines or something as your hero? Or Duke Nukem or whoever is your favorite.
So I would take like the first row and the Half-Life guy, and I would try to do a kill team just with those guys. Like, this is my kill team, and like that's Duke Nukem. Yeah, I know, but he's on my kill team. You don't like it? We won't play because my list is too cool now. I'm thoroughly in love with this, especially the Duke Nukem.
Yeah,
that's just.
There's also a Jason Voorhees figure under the modern stuff as well. And a couple of people that I would say are inspired by Rambo, though I'm not entirely convinced on their Rambo. It looks a little bit too cartoony for me.
Yeah.
But Hardcore Miniatures, look, every episode I'm trying to find something that's a little bit less known, a little bit more indie. This is definitely on. It's not as indie as last fortnight, but I'm trying to include something like that every time I put one of these together. So we'll share the link with this. I don't remember who shared this with me originally. I know it was somebody that I was talking to on the On Tabletop website, but I don't remember who you were, so I apologize for not shouting you out. And next we move into a board game that looks really, really weird, but in a good way. Or at least I think it's in a good way. It's a board game called Dodo's Riding Dinosaurs. This is so oddly cartoony that it's just, I don't know, it's so weird.
The miniatures look comical almost.
Yeah, it's very, very much, it's not even trying to be serious. It's like the dinos look like they're being strangled as they're being ridden.
Yeah, this looks amazing.
Yeah. And that, I'm going to call it a phoenix, but Cooks and Babby, I don't know what the creature's supposed to be, but that actually does look a bit vicious.
No,
buy in.
This is.
You can actually buy an STL. Ooh, that's tempting. I didn't notice that. You can buy a 3D printing version. Ooh. Oh, I may actually go into this now. I wouldn't mind printing off a couple of those and painting them.
Right?
The regular version of the game, which is $49, which is just the board game itself. There's then a $59 one, which is that plus the Cooks and Babby that I mentioned a second ago. And then there's everything after that is retail. They have a previous game that you can purchase with this as well. And yeah, look, it looks really, really silly. When you get a chance to look at this yourself, guys, you'll see why I keep on saying that. But it's silly in a good way.
Yeah, no, it looks pretty amazing. Again, this looks like just a fun game. Like it's not taking itself seriously in a good way.
Yeah. I mean, it's a board game on Kickstarter, so hey, great, big breaking news.
Right.
But yeah, speaking of news, though, we've had it appears to be a new Necron tease. We already know of one hero that's being brought back for Necron, but last night before I went to bed, G-Dub dropped a bomb of a Regal returning, which appears to be referring to the original King of the Necrons. Appears to be. I can't say for certain that it's not a bluff, but that appears to be the direction that they're going. Is it possible we're actually going to get the first decent Necron release in 8 years? How long has it been since we had a real Necron release? And when I say real, I mean something that actually, because it's just been the book so many times now.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been up on the Necrons. All I see is like, if I got into that, I could have an army painted in no time because it's just base coat, a highlight, dry brush.
I've come, like, the Necrons have almost made me buy back into 40k several times, and I've mentioned this a couple of times too. But the fact that I think I would get bored halfway through painting them is what keeps on pulling me back. I mean, that would be an army that I would do 100% with an airbrush, because there'd be no point not doing that. Other than the watches, I suppose.
I mean, it'd be one of those things where you airbrush it, you put it in the army painter shade, spin it off, then hit it with a dry brush, and you're done.
Pretty much.
Like, Casey told me no on the Dodos Riding Dinosaurs game.
Ah, boo, Casey. What a monster.
So I'll say this with, the release of Magnus, with the release of, God, I always forget his name. The Nurgle guy. The Primarch.
Mortarion?
Yeah, Mortarion. Rowboat, the new Gaz, It wouldn't surprise me if they bring back the King for the Necrons, because they're bringing back in the actual, like, lore leaders.
He's always been someone that was alive, as far as I understand. I'm not perfect with my Necron lore either, but I have looked into the earlier stuff. He was never killed.
Alive.
Well, yes. Because it's been hinted that one day he would come back and unite all of the factions, and then everybody is dead. Now, obviously, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But from a 40k perspective, having him come back and begin the threat of bringing everybody together, that makes a bit of sense. I mean, him returning is supposed to be awakening the rest of the hives that are all asleep. And we're not even supposed to have woken, like, even anywhere near half of them at this point. This could be big storyline-wise. Necrons could actually be a storyline threat. Hopefully it comes into the game as well. It'd be nice if they were competitive.
All I know is I hate that giant Forge World Walker that the Necrons have, and so I just hate
Centipede
Necrons. No, it's the big walker. It's like got like 6 legs or something like that. It's like a Night Titan kind of.
Don't know if I've ever seen what you're referring to.
I'm
going to have a look.
Captain Socks, you should go look too. If their page is up and running, because the last time we looked, hey, it is up and running.
Sarah, yeah, the hit. It's like, yeah, it's odd. The Seraptech heavy construct. It's like a round body with spider legs coming off it.
Yes, that thing.
Yeah, yeah. I like the Tombstalker. The Tombstalker's fun.
Yeah, so I don't like that thing because it's big, and it's a pain to take out. Yeah,
I don't like it because it looks boring, quite frankly.
The picture does not do them any justice. There's a local player here. She has one. It's big and impressive. I'd say it takes up like you like the standard knight base. It takes up the space of 3 of those.
Oh wow! Okay. So
Yeah,
it's like the size of the giant Tyranid thing. Then
Yeah, sure.
I can't think what it's called, but there's like a Tyranid thing that's
No.
like literally huge.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not a small mini. It's big. It's worth the points. It's worth the price. Warhound. It's about the size of a Warhound, I think.
Okay. Impressive. Playing with Forge World stuff has never really been huge on my priority list. With the exception of when I was wanting to build a full Kroot army. But then they cancelled all of the minis that I was going to buy. I have managed to find some at decent prices, either locally or through eBay. But yeah, there isn't enough there to flesh out. But that's really the only faction that's ever grabbed my eye when it comes to the Forge World stuff. Just because a lot of the times
Price,
you're bringing
shipping.
stuff like that, and it makes you feel like a bit of a dick, unless you enjoy being a dick.
Thanks for that tag there, Bruce.
What, calling you a dick?
No, for the podcast now.
No, I'm confused.
Moving on.
Because it makes you feel like a bit of a dick. Okay, I get it.
No, that words dirty, not clean.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, couple of quick ones following up from last episode. Mini Masterworks, we had mentioned that their Studio X had gone to Kickstarter. We had some differing opinions on it. I was definitely more in favour of it than you was.
Oh yeah.
It seemed to have been very much a love or hate it thing on the Kickstarter as well. It got to about 50% funded before they cancelled it. They're going to revisit how they're doing it, and they will be back to Kickstarter. And unfortunately, similar things for Bot Wars. Bot Wars got, at its height, it got to about 66, 67% funded, and they kind of just stalemated from there. He did try to do some unlocks early and stuff to try and motivate people to get it across the line, but he's cancelled that for the moment as well. Yeah, sad to see for both of them. It's not actually the greatest time for Kickstarters right now. And I'm not just saying that because of these things, but both Kickstarter and Indiegogo are down across the board with people being able to pledge because there's a whole heap of people without work.
Well,
Yeah.
and a lot of the manufacturing is
Yes.
not certain right now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we're still waiting for Super Fantasy Brawl, because we were supposed to have that back in
January? December?
no, March, I think.
March.
No, it was
Yeah, no,
We were
March.
supposed to-
Yeah.
we were supposed to get the Terrain Tutor Guide in February, and then Super Fantasy Brawl in March.
Yeah.
Super Fantasy. They're just stuff's getting done now because the factories are shut down because people are sick. So
Yeah, the company
I think
here-
that's a lot. Go ahead, Sox.
Yeah, the Company Heroes game that I backed that I talked to you 2 episodes ago or so. Yeah, we're supposed to get it this time frame ourselves, and they're just now getting the molds all going for the factories as
Yeah.
well. So I have to agree. It's every Kickstarter out there that was near production line time frame had to wait for the factories to get back open.
Yep. And as much as it's a completely different industry, the other thing that's worth mentioning is Todd McFarlane, as in Spawn fame Todd McFarlane, just raised $3.3 something million on Kickstarter. And as much as it's not a direct competitor, it's still going to have taken money that would have gone into these things anyway, because you don't raise that sort of money without it coming from other places.
Well, so in defense of that too, though, it was a new Spawn action figure, and if they hit it like a certain stretch or something like that, you got a remake of the original.
No, it was
action figure
a remake of the original action figure.
Okay.
Yeah, I backed it.
Well, no, I thought I saw one that was like a new one and then the original one.
Basically, he's doing 3 different versions of it: the classic Spawn, the modern Spawn, and I can't remember the wording that he's using. But yes, I know this is not Tabletop Miniatures. We got distracted. He's calling it like an art.
It's Spawn, so
an
what?
art render.
Okay.
Which is like, it was like a grayscale, kind of supposed to look like how they draw it to begin with. And
okay.
as they unlock stuff, they gave you a lot of free stuff towards the miniature, like they redesigned the boots for the modern Spawn, because the modern Spawn looks different than the classic one. You now have like metal chains, necroplasm, there's a whole heap of new weapons, different heads. There's just been a whole heap of stuff. He kind of did his Kickstarter backwards. Whereas normally, let's say George was doing a Kickstarter, he would announce all of these things that would unlock if they got to certain numbers, and then just like, we're there. Todd McFarlane went backwards, and every time he got to a big thing, he turned around and said, okay, because you've done this, I'm now going to give you this, this, and this for free. He did it backwards to everybody else, and I actually kind of liked the way that he was doing it. Production value of most of the videos was down because it was all kind of done at his home. And I'm not saying that as a criticism, that's just the way things are right now.
Yeah, so on the other hand, though, Todd McFarlane can get away with that because he's Todd McFarlane.
Yeah.
So,
I know that there are people out there that are not fans of Todd McFarlane, but I'm sorry, you're allowed to be... Well, no, I can't say that. Not everybody has to like everybody.
Yeah. Something else for the news. Thunderboy Michelle, he's done a little thing. You can check it out on our YouTube. We're hosting his stuff for now until he really gets going, because licensing stuff. He is renting studio space, and he is going to be making terrain.
Yep. Terrain and miniatures.
So yeah, and I think a lot of it had to do with the response he got from the terrain piece he made for his PolderCon demo for Drop Zone.
Yep.
And people are like, I want that. And so let's be honest, if it's good, and Michelle's good.
Oh yeah, he is. Definitely.
People will want it. People will pay the money for it. So I'm working with him on that too, to, he's sending me the video and I'm making the video look nice. And I wish him the best in this, because I think it's awesome for, a good content creator to get out there and actually create the content. So
hey, he deserves it to go well. He really does. Even if his wife and his wife's friend did all of the work. Not really. I'm just being a smartass.
Did you watch the video, Socks?
I have not yet. I need to.
Yeah, so it was pretty funny because him and his wife and her friend, they set up all the furniture because he had to go return the trailer.
Because he had to get it back in a very strict time.
Yeah, and so it was hilarious because I'm going through all this and I'm like, where is it? Because I didn't know this yet. He sent me the little, like, make sure you put this information in. I'm like, okay. But yeah, I'm just sitting like, where's he at? Why are they setting all this up? This is his studio. He should be there doing it.
That's funny.
And they built like 90% of everything while he was gone.
Good job, Thunderboy. Good job.
That's called delegation, guys. That's how you take control of a project. You make sure it's done by delegating tasks.
So, in defense of that too, though, he also said his wife does thoroughly enjoy putting that stuff together. So,
yeah,
I've told him that they're. Yeah, I've told him that he and his wife they're more than welcome to come over to my house when I get my kitchen cabinets, and she can put them together for me.
Yeah, you'll have to make a dinner as a response, though.
Corey, that's what I do. I cook and eat, Bruce. So yeah, go check that out. You can find him on Facebook at Thunder Terrain. Also, his logo is great too, I think.
Agreed.
But yeah, we're gonna kind of, I'm definitely working directly with him on that. But we're gonna work with him obviously because he does stuff for us. Of course, we're gonna do stuff for him.
He does. Yeah, he deserves this to go well. On the little thing that we were teasing earlier, are we doing that as news or are we doing that as hobby? I assume hobby.
Because
if...
game talk.
Okay.
I don't know. I think game talk. I think it's worthy of a game talk segment of kind of what I was talking about before. So, are we ready for the hobby?
Let's go for hobby.
Trim, glue, prime, paint.
Hobby time. Yes. So when you're watching this video, you'll just have to take my word for it when you're listening to it. When you're watching this video, as you can see, there's a new shelf right here that my microphone is now blocking. It's holding stuff. So, and then over here, George. Yes, over here to my right is I've turned the couch some, so now that's different, and so I'll do a little panoramic shot for everyone for the Patreon, so you check it out there. But I've revamped my hobby / this space some, so try to make it a little more accessible, a little more open, a little more friendly. Have not actually done anything, have I?
I don't know. Have you?
Oh, I started attaching sticks to my ships so that I can start painting them for the competition.
Way to go!
That would be a smart decision.
So that is my contribution to hobby time.
Let's go to Colonel Coldfoot because he hasn't been here for a while.
Thanks, Bruce. Appreciate it.
Anytime. Come on, tell us about all of the things that you have not got done.
Nothing.
Bus, under it, thump.
No, you want to probably touch more a little bit on, because you kind of hinted at it earlier, but a little more on why you haven't been around and why you've...
So, yeah,
that is probably your hobby at this point.
Yeah, right now. So, yeah, I should have been gone a month and a half ago for my second trip to the desert. But due to COVID-19 and everything and all the travel bans that military has been restricted on, I haven't been gone. I haven't left yet. But I got new notice a few weeks ago saying, hey, pack your bags, get ready, you can go at any time. And so life has been kind of in turmoil for me. So I pretty much put up all my hobby and just focused on spending time with the family and kids while I can before I'm
because you don't know how long you'll have.
Yeah, I could be gone in 3 weeks. Who knows?
Yeah. You could be gone tomorrow.
You could be gone in 3 hours.
I could. You're right.
It's very unlikely, but you could.
Well, yeah, very unlikely. Bags are packed pretty much. And I have all my gear that I need for where I'm going. So who knows? But I'll be back 4 months or so by the time I leave. So October, November timeframe, I should be back.
So at some point, this will eventually return to the Bruce and the Yank. But
yes,
it will be Yanks again.
Exactly. And I'm looking forward to the return.
Because we'll kick George off and it can be Jason and Jason.
Hey, I like that idea.
Okay.
I love how nonchalant you were about that. It's like, yeah, sure, try that. I dare
you. Bruce, you have something there?
I do. It's not built or anything yet. For those that watched the terrible unboxing that I did of the Bot War stuff, I have been playing around with the Bot War minis. Not the ones from the Kickstarter, which did not fund. These are the current starter set, which are in resin. The resin on these is like really, really nice. and really, really detailed. I don't know how clear it is on the camera, but I was really, really impressed. The one thing I would have to say, when I opened the box, there was a really strong smell coming from it, and I mean like a petrol type smell. I don't know if that was the type of cleaner that was being used to clean them or something else. Apparently, when these all got shipped across, the first thing that Anthony did was literally wash everything. But there was a very strong petrol smell coming from them. So I was a little bit it's on now because I have literally washed everything. But release agents and stuff is not unusual, but I've never smelt petrol from.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I'm not saying that it was petrol, but that was the smell. So yeah, but like quality of the minis wise, these are absolutely gorgeous. Duke, which is the one I'm holding in my hand for the guys right now, is definitely not Optimus Prime. That's why he's called Duke and not Optimus Prime, because he's not Optimus Prime. But
yeah, now you were saying that on that unboxing that you could literally just press fit some of the stuff together and it was staying.
Pretty much. I mean, it is loose now that I've done it a couple of times, so I will have to glue them.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm beyond impressed with this stuff. I'm definitely going to be buying more of it. For those, well, I was almost going to mention this a minute ago, but I kind of got distracted by the conversation. So the Bot War Kickstarter did not fund. The website at the moment is at a limited capacity because Anthony's actually injured his back at one point before he finished working. He has a bulging disc. I could be wrong on that. So he will not be spin casting any stuff for most of this month, and then things will return to normal. Because it's just, you can't really do stuff when you've stuffed your back. But there's a number of things that I'm going to be grabbing from there. He is in the process of organising new ways of getting this to be done. There is a crowdfunding thing he's going to do through the website of a pre-order of some new models. Certainly not to the level that he was originally going to do it. There's a Deceiver set that he's going to try and get done of 6 new sculpts off the top of my head. There's some new Beast Lords, which is your Dinobots. I mean, not Dinobots, definitely not Dinobots. That is coming in one of the months as well, and there's a whole heap of what's the name of the G.I. Joe faction? Democracy. He's releasing like army boxes, basically.
I'm not familiar with that. I mean, it's a shame his Kickstarter didn't go because I mean, obviously he already is making and selling the stuff, so I mean, there's already the market for it, and he was just trying to get a little more capita to expand it out, which is what anyone does who's making something.
Yeah,
you
especially being the size that he was too. I mean, to be fair, as I suggested earlier, with the market kind of being as tight as it is right now, it didn't really shock. I did see the writing on the wall probably 4 or 5 days before it happened, because I could see that it just kind of stayed there and it wasn't moving. Then there'd been 2 or 3 people that slowly dropped, not to huge amounts, but like I said, at the height of the campaign, that was like 66, 67%, and it was around 63% by the time he cancelled it. And it hadn't really moved anywhere for the better part of a week. It kind of, and this is not unusual for Kickstarter. You'll get to that point in the middle where it just kind of stays there and nothing much happens. But it is what it is. He'll continue to go. I don't know if he intends on returning to Kickstarter or not. I have no idea at this point. I haven't had a conversation with him myself. There was what I do know has come from public posts that he's made. You can find them. And to the point where even the information about him throwing his back out was actually part of the Kickstarter too, because it was on one of the updates.
Jeez.
Oh, well, he couldn't exactly sit there and pretend it hadn't happened. He needed to say something.
Yeah. Trust me, I know where he's coming from. I sleep on my pillow wrong and whatnot, and my back's in agony the next day. So
That's what happens when you're an old man that's balding.
shush.
You're the one that said it.
Yeah. It was... Alrighty. Game.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Game talk.
We have
Talk nerdy to me.
Sorry for the lack of hobby, guys, but it's kind of been one of those fortnights. Hey, building those models I did like a week ago. Almost to the day.
3D printing, Bruce.
Do you want to touch on yours first? Let's touch on yours first, because I keep on talking first.
Sure. Okay. We'll touch on mine.
I talk too much.
So, yeah. Well, so sometimes I feel like I talk too much, and all the time I feel like Captain Sucks doesn't talk enough.
Yeah, I know.
Captain Socks talks.
I do. What?
I know, right?
There it is.
Okay,
So,
so we kind of touched on something that you have put money into that you're expecting me to be negative about. Why would I be negative about you throwing money on something, George, when it's your own money?
Well, so I backed a CMON project.
Yeah, one that you were very critical of, but had already admitted that you really liked the look of them and was tempted by.
Yeah. No. Totally. Yeah. I
Which one is
backed
yours?
Onk.
Oh, okay.
Onk. Yeah. So
The Ank one.
and Onk.
Onk. That too.
It's a game where a bunch of Egyptian gods, because let's be honest, they were quite prolific with their gods, like the Greeks and Romans were, and culture moving to a monotheism. What's that word where it's the one god view, monotheistic? I can't talk.
Yeah.
And so one god is trying to take control over the worship of the culture he's in. So, I really like the look of it. And so yeah, I backed it, and then I started looking, and there's probably one other game of theirs I'm gonna get, and yeah.
Which game?
So
I didn't know about this one.
Cthulhu, Dead Things Die, or Can the Dead Die, or something like.
Cthulhu Wars one, or was that somebody else?
No, Cthulhu Wars was a completely different company.
Okay.
A lot more of this for that. No, Cthulhu Death May Die.
So a similar sort of thing, though. Just Cthulhu on board game.
Yeah. So the interesting thing about this one that I really like is it's a cooperative game. It's the players against the game,
Which is something that you've said you need more of.
I like that so much more because you're hanging out with your friends. You want to have fun with your friends. What's better than having fun with your friends than beating up on a board game?
Yeah. Look, and this is not me trying to take the other tact. We've been very critical, and I say we because George was part of these conversations too. He doesn't entirely disagree with me on this. Unless he's changed his mind now, but he agreed with me last
No.
time. But we've been very, very critical on CMON because of the rumors of the financial situation, and then they're straight back onto Kickstarter the following week or 2 weeks or however long it was. It was a very short period, and
It's under a month.
yeah, and the question of look, why is a company that is that big never doing anything outside of Kickstarter? But every single time I've had this conversation, I've made a point of arguing the other way because I understand that it's not always as simple as it looks like from my point of view. The reason I don't have an issue with George, I mean, I said to George, hey, it's your money.
Right.
My issue was never... I love the look of those minis. I would love to own those minis. However, I'm not willing... Well, I'd already spent my money for that budget at that point anyway. But because at that point I was... If I had have known Bot Wars was going, I still probably wouldn't have backed it. Because I'm just not willing to risk on CMON at this point. Because and again, I could be wrong, but I haven't seen a response to the auditing questions. George felt like it was worth it. CMON have never not actually come up with the goods. They've always delivered. Not always on time, but it's Kickstarter. If you're expecting it to be on time, then you're on the wrong website. But they have been early on a lot of things as well. So,
Yeah.
of course I don't have a problem with it. It's not my bloody business how George spends his money.
Yeah. I think it's May 2021.
Something
Shipping
like that.
is expected that. So they were looking for 300 and they got like 3.3 million.
Yeah.
So let's see. Let me pull it up here real quick. 3.2 million out of 300,000 is what they were looking for. So, and maybe that's why they were back on so quickly, as they're telling the auditors, "Look, we've got this. Let us do." Because I went back and I went back and looked at their history. This is by far one of their biggest backings they've had.
Yeah, and all of their stuff always gets big money, but yeah, actually, while you're discussing that, I'm going to have a look at something.
Let's see here. There was a way to look at it.
Are you looking at how much money they raised?
Oh no, no, I already looked at that. No, their history.
Click on the company name.
I wasn't seeing the company name though.
While you're looking at that, and while I'm looking at that, I'm going to bitch about something just for a second. Kickstarter, will your
Okay.
website stop logging me out when I click to save me? It's getting really annoying. Oh, helps if I type the right password.
So like Wrath of Kings, they were looking for 50,000. They got 700,000. That was, I don't know when. Oh, there we go.
Wrath of Kings was a while ago.
Yeah. 43 created, 59 backed. That doesn't make sense.
Because they back other people's projects as well.
Oh, okay.
It's the idea of giving back into the community that helped you.
Gotcha. So Marvel, they were looking for 150, got 2.8. Ankh, they were looking for 300 and got 3.3. This Cthulhu one that I'm looking into. That was last year. There it is. They were looking for 200 and got 2.4. So, I mean, just going back, look at their numbers. I mean, this has been like their biggest one to date, and maybe that's why it was so quick. Is because they're like, look, we can do this, we can fix this, and I mean, unless there's something horribly wrong, I'm not concerned at this point now because, yeah.
Well, there's a reason I've stated this every time we've criticized. They have never not delivered a project. It's never happened.
Mm-hmm.
That's never been my problem. But like, I feel like I'm betting on a dead horse. But when an auditor comes at you with questions quite serious, you really should be answering them to the people that you're asking to give you money from.
Well, and maybe they can't answer them right now at this point too, because
it could be there could be stuff that they're not allowed to discuss.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. I'm probably I only did the base pledge right now, so when the pledge manager comes out, I may add on a couple of things. Oh, what did you just turn on?
I
Is
just
my
turned
window
on
big enough?
I just turned on screen sharing.
Hang on a second here. Let me see if I can modify this there. Okay, everyone. I'll have to stitch those two pieces together. So I made it bigger so that it's on the record screen, and I whatnot. So go ahead.
Well, maybe not. Looks like he crashed.
Oh, Bruce had some issues. Bruce shared his screen and things went sideways. I don't know. Let's ask. As much as I don't want to say this, Captain Sox, I'm almost shifting gears more to a board game kind of guy. Now, don't get me wrong. I still enjoy the sitting down painting. Look behind me. I mean,
Yeah,
you can see my. I mean,
you got to
but there's.
workbench.
Yeah, I'm fairly happy that I actually have that, And now there's all these wonderful board games that are,
I wish I had workbench.
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, you had a closet and then you lost that.
Yeah. Anyways, no, it's good to see you branching out into the board game aspect because I love board games. I mean, I've got 2 bookshelves in downstairs that are all full of board games that I'm like, okay, friends come over. Here's a board game that we can play on the table, and I've got my own like Axis and Allies type board games which take days to play, and my wife won't even touch. So
Yeah. Oh, Bruce's stuff finally went away there on the feed.
and he's gone completely.
I wonder if Bruce will be back.
We'll see. But there he is. Oh, JP's on.
JP's on. JP, welcome.
How's it going, JP? No. Tabletop gaming content. Watching it. Have you been doing anything like that? Watching video streams of games? Because I know a couple of my friends are still putting out gaming content online. Work Cordy's doing some streams of his Legion games lately.
Well, so it's funny you mentioned that. I don't know if you can see it right there. Oh, there's Bruce.
Yep.
See the little black dealy right there that I'm trying to point at there, Socks?
Yep. I do.
So that is my webcam that it does my top-down view. Welcome back, Bruce. And I was looking for another one last week, and they are sold out everywhere, and the people that do have them are charging twice the normal asking price.
Well, of course.
Because
I could have told you that. Everybody's taking this time to try and go and become professional Twitch streamers.
Yeah. Well, so things are opening back up, so hopefully I can get one for a reasonable price because to my right here, I've moved my couch. I can set up a table and maybe do some streaming, unboxing, stuff like that. There's, with all this other stuff. Bruce, JP's here. Say hi, JP.
Hi, JP.
Are you going to try the screen share again, Bruce?
I think I'll just talk. I don't think that's because I have issues with this computer already anyway, but I'd rather just, I don't need to show it to you. Okay.
Are because it's still showing as you're trying to.
Really? Shouldn't.
I'm not seeing that.
On the recording screen it is.
There's 5 windows because JP's there.
No, it still says it's still got your Jason the Bruce screen share, and then it's got a live side here.
Just close that window.
I'm trying to.
Well, you have a faulty computer, George.
I know. It's not.
Let me try
nice.
this. Did that fix it?
No, it's still got all your windows there.
Okay, then I don't. It's not my problem then. Okay.
Yeah. Whatever. Just talk about it.
Okay. So, Unk raised. Where is it?
Hold it right. Raised
$3,327,196.
Mm-hmm.
The Spawn figure raised $3,447,390. So Todd McFarlane edged it out just. But the only reason I was raising this, not as a comparison for one's better than the other, between those two, that's almost $7 million. Not quite. It's
right.
like 6.7.5 or something. Or 6.7 almost exactly, actually. There's a reason why a lot of other things aren't getting money. It is the way that it is. And on top of that, a lot of people are not working right now as well. So, and that's not just the US, that's almost everywhere.
Yeah. So just a real quick question for JP, since he mentioned that. Have you checked out Thunderboy's video? Yeah. So let's jump into your 3D printing here, Bruce. What have you been learning and the problems you've been running into?
Okay. Yeah. So when I bought my 3D printer, I said that I was going to wait until I gave my. This certainly isn't a final thoughts or anything. But I've used it enough now where I feel like I can give an idea to people that haven't done this, how difficult it is and what to watch out for and stuff. So, as a reminder, I purchased the Anycubic Photon, which is the first of the photons. There's now 3 different versions of that printer. There's the one that I have. There's the S that's almost identical. It's just got a slightly more powerful screen in it. And there's the Photon Zero, which is a smaller version that's details are not quite as good, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper too. Obviously, you have resin printing, and then you have FDM printing, which is I'm drawing lines, and I'm drawing lines, and I'm drawing lines. Hey, it's now finished. As opposed to
The
resin,
plastic filament.
Yeah, the resin comes down, solids, etc. That's not going to make any sense on audio, but it'll make sense when you're watching me on the screen. Learning with a filament printer is definitely going to be a lot easier for a newcomer than going straight to resin. But in saying that, resin's not super difficult. And so long as you pick one of the printers that's very well known, so don't go and buy a printer that's not proven or has a name brand that you don't recognize. Go for something like Anycubic, Creality, or Elegoo. There is a couple of other ones that I'm probably forgetting, but go for one of the recognized name brands, because that way you're guaranteed to find a community on Facebook that supports the thing and will be able to help you when you come across a problem that you can't answer. The most common one with resin printing is usually I can't figure out why my supports aren't working. Because that's probably the biggest learning curve. And the software is not as easy to use as you would expect it to be. There is like automatic supports that's supposed to support things automatically, but it doesn't work as well as you would expect it to on the base software. But in saying that, there's a couple of things that I learned. First and foremost, my first piece of advice is ditch the slicer software that comes from the website. Go and get the Prusa slicer software and use that. Everything about that software is better. And I mean, everything about that software is better. You do need more than one piece of software, though. The Photon community, if that's the way that you go, have a file validator that will check your final file for your supports and tell you if you have any parts that are not supported properly that would cause your print to fail. There's a couple of really good support videos on YouTube that you can go to. Do a search for resin supports. It shouldn't be hard to find. And there is a Photon workshop that you need to buy which converts your file to the type that the printer will recognize. But the things that I'm still having trouble with now after 2.5 or 3 months, printing bases I'm still not getting properly right. I seem to have issues with square, blocky things that need to stay straight. They kind of warp on me. I don't know what's causing it yet. It's me, it's not the printer. There's something in my settings that I'm not doing right. But I have not had an issue with printing minis whatsoever. Not that wasn't caused by me anyway. There was an issue once where I tried to print a whole heap of dogs, and some idiot didn't support any of his files, and gee, I wonder why they didn't work. Because I'm an idiot. I still can't figure out how I made that error. I honestly don't know how I did it. I just tried to print something without putting any supports on.
Good job.
Yeah, I know, right? You definitely want to start by printing the file that comes with the machine. Stupidly, my machine didn't come with a file because the thumb drive wasn't there. Now, in saying that, don't want to use the thumb drive that comes with them anyway because they're always crap. Throw the thumb drive, get the file off the thumb drive and then throw it in the bin. Either go and buy one yourself or use one you've already got. The thumb drive that comes with all of the machines on the market is trash and not worth using because it will cause you problems, pretty much without exception. It's like every group that I've the Elegoo group makes the same recommendation. I assume the Creality one does. I haven't joined the Creality one because I don't have a Creality printer. I did join the Elegoo one at one point because I was still tossing up which printer I was going to buy. The reason I went for the Photon is because it's the cheapest, and especially coming to Australia, it worked out significantly better for my back pocket. I ended up being able to buy the Anycubic Photon and a litre of resin for about $20 cheaper than it would have been to buy just the Elegoo by itself. So that's where I'm kind of sitting as far as resin printing is concerned. It's not easy. It's definitely a challenge. It's not the most difficult thing in the world. It's definitely something that I would recommend if you have an interest in it. Don't just go and buy one because, I have the money, I may as well. If you don't have an interest in learning how to 3D print, don't buy one. There's no point. But if at some point you're looking at developing your own game, or in my case, I just printed a whole heap of miniatures off for a friend of mine. Hey, I should have showed that during hobby time. I've talked before about helping support a friend of mine develop his own game. He needed some mechs for that game and had gotten them designed. I printed them out for him. Because it's what a friend does. But no, honestly, 3D printing is definitely something I can recommend if you have an interest in it. It's just not something I would jump into just because. You need to have an interest in it. Otherwise, there's no point. The messiness of resin printing is something that needs to take into consideration as well. The resin is not something you want to touch with your hands. There is water washable resin that you can buy now, but it's still toxic. So you shouldn't be using it without gloves under any circumstances whatsoever. I am at the point where I actually probably will end up buying a filament printer as well. Because the other thing is that if you want to actually print out terrain, it's the resin printer can do it, but it's the size of my printer basically means that that's the biggest footprint that I can build on, which for a piece of terrain is not much. And I'm probably going to be investing in something to actually build myself some actual terrain as well.
Well, I was going to say too, there's got to be a cost. I mean, the filaments, the filament's got to be cheaper than the resin.
A lot cheaper, yeah.
So,
and realistically, the other thing I want to do is build up like a dungeon tile set, which I can certainly do with a resin printer, but it's kind of a waste of resin at that point. Because yes, I can do it, and I have printed a couple, but it makes more sense to print that sort of stuff on a filament printer long term. I mean, it's not necessarily faster. It's just because ultimately it's going to be cheaper. And the difference in quality on something like a dungeon tile isn't something that's really going to be appreciated that much anyway. Well, at least I don't think so. It is what it is. Again, look, definitely recommend it. Look at the size of the stuff that you're wanting to print. Because if you want to print something that's going to be like 300 mil by 300, something like that, you're looking at $1,500–$2,000 for the resin printer alone. If you just want to print minis,
Mhm.
go and buy a Photon. Go and buy Elegoo Mars. Go and buy the E-Packs. The E-Packs is probably that's the one I didn't mention that's actually worth looking at. It's probably the better one on the market right now. But you're paying for it as well. That's one that comes from the factory level. You don't have to level it ever again, as opposed to the other two main ones. But I'm really, really happy. Like, honestly, it's not something I've been using every day. But I got good results pretty much straight up. I've shared most of the early ones that I was doing. The other thing that I brought about a month and a half ago now was the wash and cure station, which is not something you need. If you're happy to buy some isopropyl alcohol and build your own curing station out of a box and some UV lights, hell, I'll give you some lights if you want some. Pay for the postage, because mine are sitting in the package, never opened. Or if you're in an area that gets enough sun, leave them outside. It'll cure in the UV light naturally. If you're in California, maybe not Chicago because it rains all the time. If you're in, maybe not Wyoming because it snows all the time. If you're in somewhere that gets sun, if you're going to be the captain can just leave his stuff out in the desert for like 3 seconds and it'll probably
It'll be done.
a bit longer than that. Just pour it out of the bottle, and before it even hits the sand, it'll be cured. It'll be fine. No. There's definitely ways around it. Like my first 3 or 4 weeks, I cured almost all of my prints by sitting them on the windowsill. There's probably better ways of doing it because I suspect that the glass would filter out some of the UV to some extent. I don't know the science behind that, but I had no issues. The reason I bought the wash and curing station is it looks a lot nicer than a bucket with IPA that you're doing this all the time with. And it's just easier. I press the button 3 times, it washes for 6 minutes, spinning one way, and then it spins the other way. And then I take them off, swap the things over, put them on the plate, and then it cures. It's so much easier. You don't need it, it's just easier. I'm very, very happy with that purchase. But in saying that, I understand why people look at it and go, yeah, but I don't understand why I'd pay, it's like $180 US, I think, for something that they can build themselves for, let's say, $50 by the time you do both. That's probably a pretty generous estimate. It's certainly not, I mean, it's certainly cheaper to build it yourself, but I don't care how good you are. It's not going to look as good as the one that they send you. Both really good products. I've had 0 issues with my Photon. The only other thing I'd say is be aware that there are certain parts that are going to be replaced over time. They are usable parts, not usable. Like they're parts that are going to degrade over time. The screen in a resin printer that actually cures your stuff will last roughly around 200-ish hours. There are some people that get a little more. There are some people that get a little less. It's not something that's going to last forever. So when it dies, don't check the shits. It's supposed to die. It's like your cartridge in your printer at home, except you're not being ripped off, unlike the printer industry that charge you 5,000% for the ink that they sell you and then don't fill it up properly. The other thing is the plastic screen at the bottom of your resin vat will have to be replaced every so often as well. You can buy a pack of 5 of those for like $20 or $30. The screen costs $50 or $60-ish. So it's not that bad, really. Excuse me. As I said, something I definitely recommend if you have an interest in it. But if you're not looking at 3D printing miniatures and going, oh, I'd really love to do that, then don't bother because you're not going to, and you're just going to spend money on something you won't use. I suppose at the risk of stating the obvious, you need to have somewhere to put the damn thing.
Yeah, that's my problem.
What?
I've wanted to get one to build some Star Wars terrain for my Legion games, but I don't have a place to put it right now.
Yeah. My ultimate intention is when I eventually had to go out and do stuff, I still want to build my computer desk that I was going to build 3 months ago, 4 months ago, 5 months ago, but I'm not allowed to go anywhere, so I can't. And it will ultimately end up living on that, or being stored underneath it when it's not being used. At this point, I have it packed up behind the front door, and I pull it out and use it on the kitchen table when I need to do it, and then I pack it away when I'm not using it. It just makes it easier. But yeah, that's ultimately what I think about that. I think that's it for the most part, guys.
I think so. Yeah.
I did have another thing on there as like a maybe, but I think we'll skip that and maybe bring it up again another time.
Yeah. We're starting to run a little long here. Upcoming events.
Same thing as before. In theory, Gen Con. In theory, PAX Australia. Gen Con's end of July, so 30th of July till the 2nd of August. PAX Australia is October 9th till 11th. There's next to no chance that Captain Socks is actually going to be at Gen Con.
Nope.
He still has a ticket.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you can't transfer it, so
I can't transfer it, so I had to get. I tried.
damn.
And otherwise, yeah, PAX Australia is in theory happening. Tickets are not on sale yet, but I will be there in theory.
Yeah. Well then, follow us on Patreon. We are doing lots of stuff there now. How much content did I produce last weekend, Bruce? Like,
You produced quite a lot of content, most of which got liked by certain people.
right. So, we are doing stuff there. Check it out. Support us, and we'll support the community more. It's how it works.
Yeah, look, share us
Yep.
around. If you enjoy our content, try to get the message out there. Patreon is there. Look, it's $2 a month. If you can support us helping cover the costs, we'd greatly appreciate it. There's a lot of content that's going out on there. The main part of this will always be available to the public, with the exception of the things that are specifically for the Patreon. Everything else goes out to the public as well. It's just the Patreon gets to see it first. If you'd like to see stuff early, hear stuff early, get in there and give us a hand. It's $2 a month.
Yeah, and that's patreon.com/gettingtabled. Of course, facebook.com/gettingtabled. That's where you see us all the time. It's where we post all the stuff to, links and whatnot. The website is gettingtabled.weebly.com.
And the Twitter that we need to use more often is @gettingtabled.
And we got to talk about this now because we're doing stuff there. And I have to pull it up because I was not prepared to pull it up. Too many ums.
YouTube.com/gettingtabled. Is that what you're trying to think of?
Is that no? That's not. I don't know what the URL is for that. I guess it would be youtube.com/gettingtabled.
Yeah, it should be. I just don't know if that's what you're trying to remember or not.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to remember because that's not what's coming up there. Let me try Googling it or.
Oh,
No,
nope,
that did not work.
that's not right. YouTube Getting Tabled, and you will find us. We are the first thing that comes up.
Yes. Well, we'll try to find the actual link for that. And let's see what else. Twitter @gettingtabled, and of course, email us if you've got anything for us that you want us to talk about or want to make us aware of something. Is gettingtabled@gmail.com.
Reach out, guys. Especially if you have questions and stuff. Reach out. We will answer you on the next podcast. Captain Socks, if we don't get a chance to hear from you again, then good luck in the desert conquering the sand.
Thanks. I'll send pictures of my tents since Thunderboy doesn't think I'll actually be living in tents, and George thinks I'll be living in 5-star style tents. So
It's still a tent.
Well, the army don't actually do
Yeah.
anything, do they? They just go out and have fun and camp for a little while. Isn't that how it works?
that's the Army. Air Force, no. We like our
Oh,
5-star
yeah.
five
Yeah,
star
that's right. It's the
hotels.
other way around. Yeah, that's right. You're the
Yeah.
5-star hotels and
Although
and
we'll see what Space Force
taking the
like.
credit for everybody else's work.
We'll see what Space Force likes to do when they start going out on actual missions and stuff like that.
Space Force likes to pretend they exist. That's about it.
Yeah,
No,
that's
they
about
do
it.
exist.
Don't let the sand invade your clothing. Also, good
I'll try
luck with
not
that
to.
not happening. George,
Till next time.
and I'm the Bruce.
And that's not working. There it is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For listening to Getting Tabled. Music used in this podcast was created by Eric Matthias at soundimage.org.
Play games at home.